Okay, so I'm going to throw to Atlas Talisman, who's going to take us through some embodied prayer. And truth is, neither of us really knew what that was when we came up with that. So we're going to find out right now what embodied prayer is.
Thanks, Amram. My voice and vocals coming across okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love this moment. It's like my life is treading water until I step into an intentional space. It can be done subtly between two people. It can be done ceremoniously, officially, with venues and banners. It doesn't really matter. What is significant to me is when we cast out this intention of what the signals will mean to us. And that's why reverence is so important in my life. It doesn't matter what you find reverence for. I just like to find something that is so damn important. I would tear apart all of the self-importances and the identity restrictions to allow that thing to come through. So spirituality is such a thing. Art is such a thing. Lovemaking can be such a thing. Emergencies bring that out in us, just going, allowing the full volume of that thing to come through. And when it comes through, unless you're fully transcendental and just operating on the higher dimensions, it comes through the body. So to me, even though we're talking about spirit, we're talking about flow, we're talking about these esoteric things, these intangibilities, having the body just alive, allowing it to be this rubber canvas space for all of the colors to be depicted is, for me, the ultimate prayer. So for me, embodied prayer is when we take these concepts of love, of honoring, of showing up, of witnessing, and we actually have it as a sensation. And taking this particular topic of today, finding freedom within, it's perfect. It's perfect for embodiment because there is often an externally imposed idea of the limitation. When we're in the womb, it's the womb itself. That's our entire universe. What's beyond that, we don't know. But, you can cruise around there, you can swim, you can kick, you can do that's your world to be in. And then you come out and then there's all these other culturally imposed significances. I can't go beyond my front gate, or I can't go beyond my country, whatever it is. And so what I find is if you take one single step back from that artificially or externally imposed boundary, you find freedom. Even if you were in prison, you could just come into the space within the cell and dance and be silly and sing and do whatever it is. If you were strapped down, and there can be ways to artificially, with electrodes and things, you can actually start to conduct even the biochemical shifts in a person. What do you do then when your freedom is being so encroached? And I believe that there's a space, the core, the kernel you, that timeless, spaceless self, that is your ultimate orientation point. And it was a really key process in my own personal spiritual journey when I found that place, even just for a glimmer, even just for a glimpse, because then you don't fear any external stimulus. No matter how far the words or the energy or the pain, the punches, the fear, the loss, no matter how much that encroaches, there is a sanctuary within us. And so from that space, we have awareness and we have a willingness to witness life. That's all it is. Don't turn away. Just look it in the eye. And from there, you have freedom, which can go out limitlessly. But the tool that we are experiencing through is still human. Even if you have that amazing spiritual certainty and orientation, we are at the current stage of our evolution human. And that comes with it's a conglomerate. I don't think it's any one thing. It's a mixture of the mind and the brain and the body and emotions and stories. And we are this people pudding, people soup. So I want you to just acknowledge the illusion of reality. Just acknowledge the beautiful pain and beauty and bliss and power that you experience in life from your lovers and from society and from your bank account and from your environment as it knocks up against you. But also just with the humor of realizing it's just a way that you have aligned senses through your body. Light comes in through the optic nerve. Sound comes in and reverberates. You've got these crystals and these bones, like with this shamanic conglomerate. And then you've got the energy tied in. You've got the organic health. You've got these signals. So freedom within, we are always within. I was listening to a podcast last night about this idea of brain in a vat. And that's what we are. We are this brain or this mind interface, whether it's physical or not, receiving these stimuluses and then creating an interpretation of that. So we therefore take this optic thing and I cast within my mind the space. Then I take in a smell and I add it to the tapestry and I hear the sounds and I have this kinetic understanding of the alignment of my body in that space. And it's like a video game. We just get all these separate pieces and we align it for a moment, this perfect pirouette of experience. But it is so fallible and it is so temporary. And there's something really beautiful about that. So with my embodied prayer, the full focus is simply this. You at your catchment point, that home space, when you receive all the signals, really feeling like that is yours, and that is yours. No one can take that away from them. No one owns that. It's just your subjective receipt of the signals of existence. So really honing into that space. And then as this beautiful, sometimes fragile, always humanly feeble attempt to exert ourselves down our entire neural network, down the spine, out through the nerves, like these hungry vines lapping at the next experience that's coming through the surface of our skin or through our ears, through our nose, whatever it is. And for me, that single moment of bliss, of opening that vine down our nerves to open up to the little taps and zaps and licks of existence is the prayer. It's the only prayer ever. It's our attempt to show up and witness life. Greater things than we can ever create have been created beyond us. And so I think one of our best roles as a human being is just to witness. We appreciate the poetry of it. We exude our own story into it. We have philosophies and myths and gods and meaning. And like that is what we do best, regardless of how important we think our creations are. It's simply our witnessing, our meaning giving. And for me, someone who is in that euphoric state of prayer is someone who's simply earnestly showing up to witness. And so that is my encouragement for you today as we step into this embodied prayer. I'm going to stand up here and start moving, but please take it from that point. Have a moment of sincerity when you realize that the external life and the intrinsic life within you is more important than any identity. Don't equate your usual way you move, the usual way you sound, as being more important to protect than the moment, than the spontaneous actuality of something that surges through you. And for me, that's a gradual process, not be harsh on ourselves if we don't move with full freedom or sing with full freedom. But just know that it is the step-by-step attempt to be sincere and earnest and be more interested than interesting. Be fascinated, be curious, open up like a sponge to receive those zaps through your neural path. And so now let's begin to warm up this tool of receipt, taking these feelings that I've been giving you through my words, breathing it in, and just start to move and start to massage the periphery. Just start to glide your hands over the edge of this human unit, feeling the tenderness, feeling the pain, feeling the pleasure, or the numbness, whatever it is, but just allowing your mind from this catchment point to exude down your nerves and become interested in your own body. Become dumb again to the point where you don't categorize everything. You don't think that your toe is any less sexual or more sexual than your genitals. You don't think that your shoulders are too broad or not broad enough, or your belly's not like these are all just such arbitrary assignments. So just really experience it anew. With the intention of detoxification of the default significances so that we can actually have this blank page to write our scripture of the moment, to articulate our prayer. Breathing down into the belly, into that third brain. You know, there's the brain in our head, there's the brain in our heart, there's the brain in our belly. It's just undulating your belly, hips, and please indulge in the awkward and the ugly, as well as the graceful and the beautiful. It's not like angels are always like, perfect land, 10 out of 10. It's just like the, the human is the creation. The animal of our bodies is the divine evolutionary result of all of this. So just like your belly button, your pimples, your sweat, your pores, like that is the art. Coming up from there, bringing it up in whatever way you feel, up into the heart, shaking it. And really feeling simultaneously during this prayer, if you are your own policeman, are you that person banging on the door of the temple saying, keep it down in there? You know, we've been so alienated from our innate spirituality, from our innate artistry, from our innate divinity. So just really forgive yourself if you are chastising or censoring yourself, and just realize that's a cultural byproduct of us being so removed from our art and from our sex and from our gods. So now start to imagine you can juice that central column up yourself. I'm going to put my stool to the side. Imagine you can just squeeze your bum, squeeze your genitals, and you're starting to just have this core column pulse with undulation. I'm starting to get sweaty. And at every opportunity, can you crack the fragile clay, porcelain, perfect postures and expressions, the poses, the masks? Like, can you be no one so you can be anyone? If there is a beautiful moment, you want to sing like a dove, you want to laugh like a child, you want to ride like a seductress. These aren't you. None of these identities are us. They're simply potentials in the universe. And we are in our true witness and prayer when we can notice it and then embody it and go, look, I noticed that sex in that moment. Look, I noticed the art. Look, I noticed the humility and the service. It's a feeling that comes through. And what if in this moment it wasn't the power, it wasn't the animal, it wasn't the rage that was the most important thing, but your subtle, soft realization of the way that your inner nervous system has been ignored. The belly aches from the food you eat. The heart aches from the conflicts that you hold on to. The mind aches from the media you consume. And just come back to that catchment. Forgive yourself for not listening. But find a pattern within you that has been ignored. Your body might have been reaching up from your belly and sending this beautiful sproutling up towards your mind saying, hey, my kidney's aching. Or it might have been having this diagonal line come across your shoulder saying, hey, you got hit the other day and that's actually done some damage. So just find a latent signal, the scaffolding of your energy body that has been trying to send a signal through your nervous system and has been ignored. And what we're going to do is we're going to loop it. So we're going to, sometimes our hands like conductors can be great, finding the line that's coming up through our body, allowing breath, sound, and movement to align. And listen to the body. What is that channel that hasn't been fully listened to or allowed to be expressed? So for me, I'm feeling this cross coming up from my hip up to my shoulder and vice versa. So it's a symmetrical kind of pattern. And once you have it, you loop it until you are no longer controlling. This is what trance is. This is the time when we detach our mental significance and we become, enraptured. And when we untouch the mind, we come to the knowing. And the knowing is so holistic. I know this moment. I know this feeling so immediately. I'm running. I'm so fast. I'm so fast. I feel young. And the feeling is like, go fast. Let yourself be fast. Don't be so careful. Just run. Run. I'm fast. So allow the communication to be articulated. Allow your body to know that you have heard it. Allow your system to finally put down that white flag, it's or that red light or whatever it's been blaring at you, that lighthouse of warning, and say, I hear you. I let down my guard. I soften and open that channels so that I can simply witness. And so coming back into stillness and just feeling this amazing constellation of potential, bringing yourself into an inner state of curiosity. You can bubble up from your belly, or open up in your heart. You are the conductor of your own experience. What are you going to do with these signals? Shifting down into like you are being soothed by a mother. Yeah. What does your heart do? How does your skin feel? Shifting up into arousal. Don't need anything external. Like, how does it titillate? Where does it come from? Not telling your mind stories, purely come from the body's catchment ability in your nervous system. Coming up into pride, into protection of those you love. And every time any of these surges want to have a channel that seems blocked, just soften. Feel the tension release at the back of your head, your face go like putty, your throat open up, your heart is vulnerable, your shoulders are back, your belly is engaged, your anus is pulsing, your feet are gripping the earth, your arms are moving. You are witnessing, you are in prayer, you are showing up again and again and again and again, moving that sense of protection up into wonder and realization. Earnest, soft, open-eyed witness. And so in closing this prayer, I would like you to feel this state of openness as you release into peace and bliss. You don't have to do anything. Releasing the body back to 0 point. And just feel the cute, quaint, beautiful, vulnerable innocence of humanity as it attempts in each new moment to reach out, to forgive all of the different signals which have injured us before and open again to life. And thank you for doing that every day that you're alive. And it's damn cool that I got to have a video camera put on me while I wobbled and sniffed and grunted in this moment, and that you showed up and thought it was of some use. Thank you for this embodied prayer. May you stay open, and may you be an ever-present witness to life.
Thank you so much for that. I want to unmute everyone just so we can make some noise and just give some love.
Love you, Atlas.
Bye.